Every great creative work stands on the shoulders of giants. Welcome to RetroInspection, where we examine and find out where the things we love today came from.
Russ, nice to see you. Today we are talking about The Scarlet Pimpernel by Baroness Orczy. She was born in, where are we here? I just lost her thing.
1865.
1865. Thank you, for God's sakes. And her family left their baronial estate. Her father was a baron, her mom was a countess. This was like real noble stuff. And eventually they go to Budapest because there's a fear of a peasant uprising in the Hungarian countryside. And for their, Brussels, Paris, eventually landing in London. She's going to art school there. She's going to become an illustrator, professionally or not. I have no idea. She ends up actually doing it professionally. But she meets
a musician, right?
I'm sorry?
A composer. Her father's a musician and composer.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I
I think she had a little bit of musical aspiration as well.
She did,
but that didn't work out
in Paris. Yeah.
But let me go back a little bit because I want to say something about this peasant uprising. This is the age or the end of the age of enlightenment. There are very many different competing ideas coming from all sources, and it's funneling down to the people. But the people in Europe are finding themselves mostly impoverished. The Black Plague has left them with a growing population, and that growing population doesn't really know how to feed themselves, and the nobility doesn't know how to do it either. Okay, so let's go on with Baroness.
Oh, okay. So when she's going to art school in London, she meets a guy named Henry George Montague MacLean Barstow, and he's a clergyman's son. They get married in 1894. By her accounts, it's a good marriage, lasts for about 50 years, but they don't really have as much money as you might think. So when the nobility is on the move, when they're fleeing, you see this certainly after the Russian Revolution in 1917. But when they're forced out of their natural habitats into foreign countries, they generally don't have much in the way of resources. There are exceptions, but a lot of them, you end up with people that had a castle and they end up driving a cab, that kind of a thing. And this is true to some extent of Orczy and Barstow. He's another artist, so he's not making all that much money. She's working as a translator, also working as an illustrator. They have one kid, and her first novel is 1899. That doesn't do anything. She starts writing detective stories. There's another novel in 1901. 1903 is when we get to the subject of the day, the Scarlet Pimpernel.
And it started out as a play first.
Yes, actually, yeah, co-wrote it with her husband as a play, which, it goes on to be in later years. I mean, it gets readapted for the stage. That's pretty common. But so, is she the person that introduced the idea of the secret identity?
Well, let's hold off on that.
Okay.
So, the Scarlet Pimpernel, it's a flower and becomes a symbol of a sort of resistance in her work from the play and then the various books that come from this character. But the background and the setting of the Scarlet Pimpernel is what is most important in consideration of her background. As a former noble or someone of the aristocracy whose family had fled a peasant uprising, at this time, the idea of nobility is waning in the world. So you find first in the American Revolution, where the Americans rejected British rule. They didn't necessarily reject nobility or the aristocracy, except to say that there were no real nobility or aristocracy, supposedly, in the United States.
Like, subscribe, repost, share everywhere. To see what else we're up to, visit xynobooks.com, xenobooks.com.